phone, his password had always been the same, our first daughter's birth date. Once it was unlocked, I didn't waste any time and quickly went through his messages, noting that he seemed to have a particularly active correspondence with Sarah, the Spanish teacher at his school, which made me frown. Beyond that, there was no mentions of any of the other women. I opened Safari. As soon as I typed in the first name, Mary, Google gave me an answer. Mary Adams. I shuddered. It was just as I feared. Why would he look her up? Sure, they had been close in high school, but why would he search for her? Right now? Didn't he know that she was? Biting my lips, I typed in Janet. Janet Clearwater. My former best friend in college. I looked at her smiling face, and at her brown, messy curls, and, for a second, my heart stung a bit. The day she died had been one of the most difficult of my life. Stabbed to death in a backstreet alley after partying in a club. It always seemed wrong for her, but... Claire Sanders. I barely remembered her, but when my eyes landed on her face, blurry, in the old newspaper article, I recognized her as one of his first colleagues. She had been very friendly, always taking us to places. Clark and her used to be so close. Alexandra Turner. This one, out of all of them, stung the most. She had killed herself 3 months prior, slitting her wrists in her bathtub when her husband was away from home. She had been such a good family friend, a friend of Clark ever since he was a little kid. What were those 4 dead women doing in my husband's search history? Did he miss them? All of them at the same time? Did he feel bad about their death? Nostalgic, maybe? On a whim, I looked up his search history. He had spent hours looking into the women's deaths, into the investigation about them, into conspiracy theories that contradicted the police's version of events. Alex's death was suspect apparently. People were theorizing that she had not killed herself, that someone had actually murdered her. I had no idea theories like that existed, and the fact that Clark had read them, according to his history, made me wince. Why would he look at that? I was shaking by now, mostly from shock. Deep inside, I already knew the answer to my question, and it left a bitter taste in my mouth. Clark couldn't have, but if he hadn't, why were those names coming back now? Why had he looked for them? For the first time in my life, I started feeling afraid of my husband, of what he could do to me if he really had. No, there was no way. It couldn't be that. It couldn't be. I had to focus, let it go. Clark was just feeling nostalgic about his old friends, trying to revive his memories. There was nothing suspicious about this. With a shaky smile, I put the phone back on the kitchen table and went to get a glass of water. I should focus on other things that mattered. Sarah, for example. From their texts, she seemed to be close to Clark. Too close. My grip tightened around the glass, and for a moment, I almost thought I was going to break it. Not wanting to deal with the cleaning up and the pain of an injured hand, I slowly relaxed my grip, breathing in and out deeply. Sarah. That bitch. I had to deal with her, then I could speak to Clark. Figure out what was wrong with him. He was always easier to deal with when he was grieving.